counter onto Olaf.
And we'll have to see if that's going to be the case as Leonites locks in this Riven. Akali is actually open as well for the taking, so we'll see where that fits in the comp. And just as you mentioned, Infinity, the Jarvan 4 has been that soft counter against the Olaf. And we will get to see Sean here on this Ari pick. We talked about him before. He is very consistent. And especially when it comes to the early game, are we going to be seeing a Jhin pick here for our last series of Group C and D? Looks like that's going to be a no. And now we're looking at the Orianna, the easy ball delivery system to the Ragnarok, plus the wild growth that will increase the survivability of an Olaf. And of course, you've got that mid to late game, a strong mid game rather, coming from Corki over here, especially after the Solari Charge Blade pickup. So we'll see what the top lane is going to be. Again, Akali is still open for the taking if they decide to do so.
Right, and Leonite Esports answered this aggression with a Janna and Riven to disengage Corki's Valkyrie, Corki's special delivery, and now Olaf wants to go for those fights. But alongside with this, Xin Zhao is going to be locked in. They've proven this composition to work in the past, and they're doing it once again with Olaf into the Baron lane and Xin Zhao tanking out the jungle.
Yeah, power is going to be on this Olaf here, so we get that Ragnarok in. Skirmishes are going to be very strong with plus the Xin Zhao, so Rift Scuttler fights could possibly ensue. So now for Leonites, the key is here for Sean to connect the charm. If the charm does not connect, then unfortunately they would have to concede any of the following Rift Scuttler fights for sure. So level 3, a very, very important point of the game. Level 5 as well, once ults are available, once the Shockwave is available, and as well as the Wild Growth. For Leonites, on the other hand, pretty similar. Strong level 3, Kai'Sa with a late game insurance, and as well as their level 5s, once the Spirit Rush comes in, and as well as the Cataclysm to lock down this Olaf.
And they have so few CCs. I think that is the problem that we currently are seeing for Leonites Esports, as you stated a while ago. Only Jash has that CC, but only melee range. Sean has a charm, but when that does not connect, who else are you going to come for? So I think that is what Leonites Esports needs to take note. While FENNEL University has Dominic with a knockback, has Danny with a knockback, Shaw has the Shockwave. These are big AoE CCs that can affect those 5v5 in mid-game, late-game phase. So these are some things that we need to look forward into at 5 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes into the matchup.
Yeah, that's true. The big contrast of single target CCs over the big AoEs. So Leonites has to take advantage before the big level 5 comes. Again, level 3, very important on the skirmishes. So I'm looking forward to see the Rift Scuttler fights possibly, and it's going to be very heavily reliant on Sean landing the charms. And in the meantime, Doming and Power may tag team at top side as well to make sure that they keep Jash on a tight leash. We've seen how Rivens can be increasingly scary as the game goes, or the early game can potentially snowball, as well as in the mid game provide some sort of that utility with the stun, being able to get in there, get very, very scary in the fights later on.
Yeah, but however, it's a disadvantage for Power because you have Riven to fight against you, which has a lot of skills potential. But considering the pressure that Power has been providing, he has forced out the flash and the ignite simultaneously onto the top side away from Jash. So in the next 120 seconds, Jash is going to have a hard time to be able to maneuver up against FENNEL adversity.
Yeah, he's able to time the back right to get more of that sustain. Again, we brought up the level 3, now level 4. This is where potentially Doming wanted to find a potential dive. Now that Jash doesn't have a flash, so I believe Doming and Power will keep that in check. We'll see if Andy69 can get a counter gank perhaps, as just to try and relieve pressure off of top.
They're doing it. It's a very a quiet game for now, because when you're looking at the draft, it's just so much of mid-game power spike champions. Donnie, mid-game power spike at level 5, that is where he wants to be. He needs that Essence Reaver alongside with the Solari Charge Blade. Doming, I think, is the only one that shines out in the early game for FENNEL adversity. When you're comparing it for Leonites Esports, they're also mid-game, late-game champion. Rowan is a scaling champion. Andy69 is a scaling. Josh is a scaling. Sean is probably the only ones also that is strong pre-level 3. So I think this is reasonable that we're seeing no kills, no first bloods as of yet for the United Esports and FENNEL Adversity. Currently, 3 minutes into the matchup, no first blood.
Yeah, for sure. Level 5. I think Josh wanted to be very safe here in the lane, considering he doesn't have a flash. He was expecting that Domin could make a second visit there. No Rift Scuttler fights, actually, as the junglers decided to able to get that trade-off instead of clashing. And, of course, looking into the mid lane, Sean is unable to get priority over here. So there is that. Sean unable to find that space. 30 seconds on the clock before the first objective, 2 objectives rather, which is the Rift Herald and the Air Drake. And looking at the comp, I feel like Leonites Esports does need this Air Drake more because they do want to utilize Sean, they do want to utilize Andy69 on their ganks and see if they can propel the rest of the lanes.
Oh, but Power going for the flash into the turret with that engage, putting down Josh in this fight means they can dominate onto Rift Herald and can even react fastly onto the dragon if they do so hope. Because Oriana is there to go for the contest and also the vision is there as well. But can they make it? I don't think so. I think they rather go for the Rift Herald and Towers led after because they are faster to clear out this objective against FENNEL Adversity.
Yeah, it's going to be just a trade here as they're able to get a pick off of Josh. Again, that flash burn was very important to win that and getting that Rift Herald. So now we'll see a potential fight coming in as we see Rafi and Doming just sneaking in here.
Yeah, and no information for FENNEL Adversity, but they had the Twin Shadows give information for FENNEL Adversity at the same time. For the United Esports, something is waiting there. Some champions, some players is waiting all around. So going for the recall is much more clever. It's a good call for the United Esports to go back away, to go for the reset, and then to counter-engage FENNEL Adversity as they look to pressure top lane.
Yeah, they're getting that lane swap in with the Ari, or rather with both AD carries in the mid lane. No, it's just row 1 in the mid lane over here. I guess they wanted to make sure they're able to maximize their back as well. Now it's going to be standard lanes for now. Second dragon is going to be very important for sure. So we could see a clash over there. Or maybe Leonites on paper would get a pick or 2 and then be able to confidently take the Infernal or FENNEL Adversity. You know, they can chill a little bit. There's really not much pressure to move around the map except for Power over here in the dive.
Dragon Drag go for the knock-up. Ragnarok will be forced. That's going to be the Seeker not connecting, but the damage from row 1 but a Caitlyn Rain puts him down. The real Leonites Esports first kill into this game. The FENNEL Adversity going for the Rift Herald bot lane.
They're able to get that first blood tower with that bonus gold coming in. So it means that they have more space to work with and plant these deep vision. Sean?
Very low. 1 HP. Bot lane, let's look at that. Rift Herald being utilized very well. As the first turret plate actually falls down and Sean is still low HP. But here in the top lane, different Scary being created as Shaw goes for the response.
Yeah, I thought there was going to be another fight here, but it is just Shaw just trying to help clear the waves. And it is just keep distance and row 1 over here. They're not going to be too overextending or overstaying because they don't have vision or information to tell if it is okay to keep pushing. But just as you mentioned earlier, FENNEL Adversity is able to maximize the charge, able to get 2 charges down, 1 plate off of that bottom inner tower. And looking at the items now, both Loot and Zeko for the mid laners, so going to help with that additional clear. Sterak's first pickup for Doming, so once he comes in, he's going to survive a little bit more into the fights. And for now, Essence Reaver getting picked up by Danny, of course. He's heading towards that Solari Charge Blade and then Infinity Edge. That is the spike that they are waiting for sure. And that is the time where FENNEL says, hey, we can go. And we are going to be confidently hitting those crits on that Corki.
It's 1 out of 3. Icon called Power Spike for Danny. Whilst Leonites Esports is still scouring away because currently it's 2K Gold League for Final Adversity. Infernal Dragon will come up in 30 seconds and they need to set up the vision here. And look at Power. He's clearing out the vision against Leonites Esports. This is an intelligent move because this removes the knowledge how Leonites Esports will play this dragon out.
Exactly. He's able to clear that wave, clear the vision. Leonites has to ward all over again. Doesn't have information here. We talked about this before. Leonites must get a pick, but it could be the other way around. 5v5 scenario, once the shockwaves kick in, once the rockets hits to your face, it's going to be a little bit difficult for Leonites to get this dragon.
They're starting this instantly. St. Zhao is there on the corner. Ragnarok will be forced as well. Anti-CC. Cataclysm will lock down onto the Olaf, being locked down.
Killer
Roll one, but the Killer Instinct actually takes it down. The dragon might go for the move. Package will go in, separates down Power. Keep distance, will keep his distance down as he is now 8 feet under. Azanti 69, very low on HP as well. Danny will not be able to secure the kill, but what they secure though is the Infernal Dragon.
And that is huge. That is something that they definitely want. Getting that big bonus damage buff on their side, and they even get to take the first tower in the mid lane. So they're able to get more space to work with, therefore easier vision, deep vision in the jungle of Leonites, particularly near the riverside. And really well done. Love the movements of FENNEL Adversity right now. Look at that 5k gold lead already. And now though, looking at the items, once Sean gets the Rabadons on board, I feel like this is the go time for Leonites to press more with their pick potential, because they have a Jarvan with a Flag and Drag into a Charm. So there is a big possibility to still catch up in gold.
Though look at the double twin shadows. FENNEL Adversity has information that there's two actually looking for the top lane. So that is a good response for the United Esports, but a tad bit too late as FENNEL has secured another turret into the top side of the map as now 5k gold lead for FENNEL Adversity.
They have been everywhere. They have been getting these towers with Leonites, trying to catch up with no return, no exchange whatsoever. And Leonites having a bit of a hard time here so far. Let's see. We talked about this before. The key is Sean here as we see him probably preparing for a death brush, but looks like Ping says don't overstay because the Lulu, Rafi is there, and as well as Shaw.
And those setups from FENNEL Adversity is it's going to be very devastating. They're setting up onto the Baron Nashor. They have the vision into the blue buff already, which means that will give them information, but it's going to be sighted down. It's going to be cleared down. Power is really just scattered out. It's going to be difficult for them. So I think FENNEL Adversity is just being there into the Baron's pit to be able to secure those distance and the radius for Baron's Nashor, because you have Power here into a bit of a sideline as Josh will not be able to actually cancel out the recall though. So FENNEL will have that engagement, will have that opportunity, but still, what they don't have for FENNEL Adversity is the vision exactly onto the Baron's pit, and Leonites Esports has that advantage.
Yeah, so far it has been very defensive words coming from Leonites, although they definitely want to plant deeper vision in the top portion of the jungle, or rather the red side jungle of FENNEL Adversity, just to see if they can get a pick or two. Again, they have to use Sean Azanari to get the charms in. And so far, FENNEL is not taking any sort of bait. They're fine just farming. Again, Danny is going to get painful on that third item for sure. Shaw as well. Right now, Shockwave used for the setups. Now, in the later parts of the game, Shaw is going to be massive. The Shockwaves are going to deal so much. The Dissonance as well. And with thick shields from Command Protect. So FENNEL not really pressured to do anything at all at the moment.
Yeah, and we need a very great setup for Leonites Esports in form of ND69 with the Cataclysm. Be able to really just get that down for FENNEL Adversity, because as we stated a while ago, there's CC lacking towards the side of Leonites Esports. So those ultimates are going to be very, very valuable in this team fight that may potentially occur. But with this huge respect from these two teams, they're really just hovering onto the Baron Spit for over 2 minutes now. Now, Ocean Dragon will be alive at 5 seconds, and I think this will be the point of contest. If a team loses this, this might be immediately transferred into the Baron Master as well as the Dragon. Armdo will go immediately and kills down Lulu. Rafi will say goodbye in a millisecond. Now, Leonites Esports will have that numbers advantage. We talked about Ari a while ago. The charm's going to be very important, and it is connecting. However, the Shockwave will actually go for the disengage. You have Keep Distance going in for the Monsoon as well. Keeping away FENNEL Adversity as they lose the Ocean Dragon. Now they're looking for more. Just goes for the dash. That's going to double stun. Goes for the ultimate as well. Clears the instinct to follow through. And Olaf be there, but you have Jarvan 4, but the Cataclysm actually canceled it out.
Yeah, the Sterex is going to keep Dumbing safe, at least. But really nice flash engage by Leonites. But take note, Jash, no flash means that power can go in.
Yeah, with Ragnarok actually being casted down already, ability will be there for power. Lacking when it comes to the damage output, because when you're looking at Jash, a lot of sustainability even built into his skill kit, with the item build with Black Cleaver and also the Death's Dance, that's really just prolonging himself to survive those 1v1s.
Yeah, he's just there to create chaos in the front line, in the back line, wherever Josh wants to position himself. But yeah, Doming, pretty hard to kill. Sterex, and then the Dead Man's already completed pretty much. For FENNEL, of course, they have to vision up.
Here comes the party for FENNEL Adversity. They're just hovering around. They just said hi and goodbye. FENNEL Adversity will still hover down for Leonites Esports and might actually just force out the bait.
And we'll see. No vision so far in Leonites as FENNEL continued to ward that area. But as we were talking about vision, FENNEL, it's very important for them as well to have these deep vision to prevent any sneaky Sean charms from this Ari. They're able to manage to get a pick, and it's a really good pick too because it led them to get the Ocean Drake. But now FENNEL playing the bait. They're still lingering around this Baron area, and it's so dark for Leonites.
Not clear so far. FENNEL Adversity starting the Baron Masher though. Leonites Esports needs to respond. The face check will be there, and the 69 will get that information. You have 2k HP remaining for the Baron buff. Will you get it? No, you won't. FENNEL Adversity will be able to secure the Baron buff. And now the Wild Growth will be forced onto Xin Zhao. That's going to be a zoning capabilities up against Leonites Esports, and they cannot do anything as FENNEL Adversity took it home with a buy one, take one.
They're really nicely done by FENNEL. They're very tempered. They got the Baron. They know that they didn't need to fight, and they just opted for the reset. Even sending power. Okay, power, don't go home. Use the Baron buff immediately. Leonites Esports is in mid lane. You can take down the inner tower at top.
Yeah, and he is sustainable, so he doesn't care about this damage coming through, but what the United Esports need to prepare for is the 1v1 that's currently happening. FENNEL Adversity is pushing all lanes up to this one, and this might go into a distance up against the United Esports as you have power now pushing into the inhibitor turret. The United Esports needs to defend 1k HP for the inhibitor turret. This is over
Ragnarok?
for the top lane. Ragnarok will be forced as well to just secure that objective. Dragon Drag will not be able to connect. The next thing in FENNEL Adversity is this, is into the mid lane, being able to take down 2 inhibitor turrets out of that is so massive, and now they're streaking at a 10k goal lead.
Yeah, this is huge for FENNEL Adversity. They are so patient. They are very, again, tempered with their plays. They are patient, and it all calls back to how they have been playing since the summer season. You mentioned this, Infinity. A very controlled aggression play style. If they don't need to fight, they won't. They were just going to take down the objective and get out of there. FENNEL Adversity now in the lead. In the map score as well. 11 seconds in the clock for the Mountain Elder.
As you stated, I think this is the reason why FENNEL Adversity has hovered back today, because Mountain Elder Dragon is on the line here, 2 seconds down. But you have Shaw having that information up against Jash, bringing him down away with the Leandris. They have the United Esports now going in for a Crane against FENNEL Adversity. Xin Zhao comes in though, the ultimate knocks him back. And the 69 is in a huge disadvantage when it comes to positioning. Over back away, have power into the mid lane, going for the flank. Not stopping.
And this is a
Sean will get the kill. Sean will say goodbye. The damage from Sean.
Sure. He's using an Orianna as if it's effortless.
Yeah, but Killer Instinct though.
Killer Instinct?
Will not follow through. Tries to get in the response. Flash away. Will save his life. Power now coming in for the flank here.
Power.
He goes in. So much damage coming through. The monsoon will not be enough to keep them alive. Shaw will fall. That won't be potentially the
Danny.
1-for-1. But Danny comes in. He will not be able to beat down Shaw. That's 1 HP. And Josh, no waiting around the corner. He doesn't know that there's a ward actually seeing him down. And now he's
Shaw's
gonna go
still
back
alive?
away. Shaw's gonna fall. That will be the trade. But Josh is in danger. The Nexus base is open. Power is going for the push into bot lane. And Josh needs to go for the recall if he has it. Because 5 seconds on the clock for Sean to even go alive. But this will be done before they even come back alive. FENNEL Adversity will take this game 1.
And what a convincing and